welcome to episode 4 of the Interview with Scientists series. Today we have Dr. Vinita Bharat joining us from United States. After completing her PhD from Germany, she joined Stanford University as a postdoc. She is a science communicator and sciartist and runs a science communication platform known as the Fuzzy Synapse since 2017. She makes science illustration to explain complex concepts. She also runs workshops and present talks on science communication and sci art. Today, we will talk with Dr. Bharat about her research journey, SciArt, Scicomm, Fuzzy Synapse, and her recent initiative, Draw Your Science. Thank you, Vinita, for coming over to the Addictive Brain. Let's start by asking you about your current research and the postdoctoral work that you are doing in your current lab.
I'm doing my postdoc at Stanford University, and we have uh, like neuroscience has been something which has been fascinated me since then, and now still I enjoy doing bench work.
Uh-huh.
So that is what research, I'm enjoying being in the research side still. So yeah, it's continuing.
So, what do you do in your postdoc research?
So right now here at Stanford, I'm working on understanding mitochondrial dynamics in neurodegenerative diseases.
Okay.
So that, which means that mitochondria, which is an organelle, which is a powerhouse organelle, like for our cell. So
Yeah.
we are trying to understand what happens in mitochondria, which gives you energy, what
Yeah.
happens in a healthy person or in a person suffering from a neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer, what
Yeah.
happens, what's the difference between the mitochondria between a healthy or a patient. So we are trying to understand, and I particularly am working with Parkinson patients. So we are trying to understand what happens in Parkinson disease, where people, as they get older, they have problems and they can't move or their hand shakes. So we are trying to understand where the mitochondria and how mitochondria is is affecting that in neurodegenerative diseases.
See, that's a very good research topic, I would say.
It is fascinating. Yeah, it is interesting indeed.
Parkinson's and Alzheimer's have always fascinated me as well.
You're also from neuroscience
Yes.
background, right? Oh,
Yes.
nice, nice. Yeah, yeah.
So, how did you come up with the name of Fuzzy Synapse, and how did you start, or what led you to start Fuzzy Synapse?
So my journey of being science communicator, I think I was feeling when I was doing my PhD, I was feeling that there's a gap between society and what we are doing inside the lab.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't communicate my research, which I was working on learning and memory in my PhD to my fellow friends or my family. So I thought that there is a gap. Like people don't understand what as scientists we do inside the lab.
Yeah.
So as I was finishing my PhD, I actually that's the time I the first time encountered CRISPR. That
Okay.
was the first time I heard the term, and I was like, "What is this CRISPR? What are people talking about?"
Yeah.
And I have a habit of doodling things to make myself understand.
Yes.
So I was drawing something. So a colleague of mine saw it and was like, "Why don't you put it out and tell the other people too what you understood from CRISPR?" And I
Yes.
was like, "I don't think people would like it. Like it's my understanding of the topic." So he was
Yes.
like, "No, you should put it. Like you should see how people perceive it. Maybe it helps them to understand it."
Yes.
And I think the few friends encouraged that idea that time, and that's how it started.
Uh-huh.
My journey to put my art out there for people to understand complex scientific topics.
Yep.
And since then, I think it has been an amazing journey because I personally have learned so much. And also the response I'm getting with the Fuzzy Synapse is something which always motivates me to do much more in this
Yeah.
field. So along with research and doing for science communication, it's like straddling both the world, but it's an amazing experience. Yeah.
Indeed, it must be because making arts and artists are like making sci art is really difficult. I know that. I tried my hands, but I was not successful.
I must say, like, I'm not a trained artist. Like, there are people in science communication now being in the field and knowing about the field a little
Yes.
bit. I know there are people who literally are trained in doing art and literally
Yes.
are trained in a specific kind of like maybe acrylic painting or some other painting or stitching. So I don't think I'm trained in that, but the idea that okay, how you can communicate a complex topic into very simple language
Yes.
by art, that is what I think my forte with Fuzzy Synapses, that I try to simplify topics so that a kid or a person who is not in the field can
Yes.
understand. And that is something which is motivating me, because when people understand it, I feel so accomplished that, okay, this is something like, it could be conveyed in a simpler way. So that is
Okay.
what is like, yeah. So I think anybody can be it. So it doesn't need not to be an artist. So you must be doing a
Okay.
good job if you're trying that.
Hope I can make some good drawings. So, how do you manage time to make such beautiful art and for Fuzzy Synapse and your research? It must be hard, as you mentioned, but how do you manage the time?
Uh, yeah, it is. I wouldn't say that it's not hard. Like, it is hard because for doing a postdoc and doing a research is like a 24/7 job where you're thinking, reading papers, doing bench work, like planning experiments, managing everything. But I believe that science communication is a very, very important aspect, which as a scientist we should be trained in,
Yes.
because not just doing inside the lab, wet lab, or experiments matter, but communicating what you are doing to other people also equally should be important. So I think that's the motivation which has been driving me so far. Like, I feel that, like, whenever I get some time in between, like, I try to post something, and I manage to do at least one post every week.
Okay.
And earlier I was aiming for like more than that. So now I don't have a strict timeline, but I try like my level best to make it consistent so
Okay.
that it gets more encouraging for people to see.
Yeah.
And I try to collaborate with so many people, which, and they are amazing collaborators. So as a scientist, we are trained to learn collaboration, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So in Fuzzy Synapse, I try to incorporate that. I have like amazing platforms out there which are helping me and supporting me and encouraged to provide my art to them. So that is something which is driving me. So yeah, overall, I think I've been managing so far. Like, it's hard, but it's fun. It's super fun to do
Yeah.
it.
I can understand it must be really hard with a full-time research job plus science communication.
Yeah. But I think it actually helps in return, because if you're in the lab and doing a PCR, and when you understand it, when you explain it to your mom or your fellow friends, like, okay, I did a PCR today, and they're like, what is that? Then I feel, okay, this should be explained in a drawing to
Correct.
someone what is
Yes.
PCR. So that helps me like motivate me for finding different topics.
Uh-huh.
So in turn, I think it's fun to do that. Yeah.
Yes. So, how
Yeah.
do you draw your figures? Do you use any special software or do you draw it on pen and paper and just color it?
So yeah. So earlier I started using like doodling on paper and then doing it. Then I found that it's too wastage of like paper.
Mhm.
So I should be like, eco-friendly. So now I have moved to like softwares like from past 2.5 years. So I use Adobe Illustrator or Procreate. And I nowadays I draw on my iPad. So I
Okay.
try to like put like my idea out there, and then I think the most important, like the most time consuming step is to just narrow it down to a form that you can explain and connect.
Yes.
Drawing itself is, I think, manageable pretty easily, but I think just the idea, like just funneling it down to something very simple is the one which takes time. And it could be, the idea can come either in a second or a day or 10 days. So that is something which
But
is, yeah, which is helping me. Yeah.
yeah, ideas are hard to collect
But
sometimes.
it's fun. It's, I think,
It's fun.
just to yeah, just to create something which is not out there in the world on Google Images, what you can't find, and if you just add something to that, I think it's super fun to do it. Yeah.
So, what are your, can you provide some tips for beginners who are going into science communication and sci art field or
Yeah,
to
that's
make a career?
very, very interesting topic, I think, and very interesting question. For I have been contacted by many people who show interest in doing that, and I highly encourage students or researchers or people who are like in science to do that. Like, I, in every time I say that, it doesn't depend how good you are in drawing, because you can even make a stick figure or write something. It doesn't matter that it has to be a pretty drawing.
Yeah.
What matters is that the idea which you are trying to communicate should be clear to the people who are your audience.
Yes.
So I would say the tip of like tips for someone who is just starting would be to just be consistent and follow your idea. Like, if you want to do it, just keep doing it, because I see people who come to me and ask, and then they're just like busy with, which is totally understandable. They have so much on their platter to like, do it. So I would say just start with like small topics, something which is very close to you. Suppose I'm a neuroscientist, so for me, explaining neuroscience comes automatically. But if
Yes.
I want to do a chemistry drawing or a physics drawing, I do my homework. So for that, I have to read about it so that I communicate the right information. So I
Yes.
would say start with something which is very close to you. Start like doodling it. Just write something which you think would help others, and you would be surprised at how easy it is to do, because once you have your idea on the paper, then it's very, you feel that okay, somebody
Yes.
should like see it and understand it. So I think that's just the process of starting takes time and encouragement, but later on, like, you would see the world is there to like support you. So yeah.
That's great. So let's talk about your new initiative, Draw Your Science. Can you tell us more
Yes.
about it and why did you start it?
Yes. So this is my very new initiative with Fuzzy Synapse, where actually during this winter break, I was thinking of more ideas how I can put the like bring it to the next step. And then I thought that rather than doing, because so far for 3 years I was doing individual topics, like
Yes.
choosing a single topic and then drawing it.
Yeah.
But then I thought that okay, now it's high time that I put it out as chapters where it's not just a single topic; it also teaches someone how to do it.
Yeah.
So, and especially with the friend circle around me, I see that there's a huge gap in how kids are being taught science. So
Yeah.
that motivated me even further that, okay, can you simplify your science in a form that even kids find those books interesting? So I started this book series where I'm trying to cover different topics.
Yes.
And recently I started with Draw Your Neuroscience. As I said, it's
Yeah.
more closer to me, so it's easier to explain. So I have released two chapters so far, and
Yes.
I'm planning to continue the journey and see whether I can actually narrow it down or simplify the neuroscience to a level that even kids find it like interesting to read those books. So
Yes.
that is the initiative I just started, and I'm planning to continue it with different topics, microbiology, physics, like try to choose like different topics and maybe collaborate with people who are in these fields
Yeah.
and try to draw with them. So if Addictive Brain wants it, we can collaborate and see.
Definitely. So, are you planning to publish a book or publish a video series about
So
it?
far, yeah, I have been contacting different publishing houses too, but my idea right now is to, because like it's not like full time I'm doing this. So my idea is to first get the chapters out there and see what the response is. So far, it has been amazing and supporting. So I'm planning like once these chapters are out, then maybe it's easy to put them together in a form of, because that is the last step. Like I have to first get the chapters ready. So yeah, that like my idea is to get it in either ebook or release it with some publishing houses. Yeah.
That's great, actually. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to reading
Did
it.
you like it? Did you like the
Yes.
chapter so far?
Yes. There are two chapters I read.
Nice. Mhm.
So, what's next for Fuzzy Synapse, and where do you see Fuzzy Synapse in the next 5 to 10 years, let's say?
So I'm not thinking about 5 to 10 years, frankly speaking, right now. For me, it's more immediate, like what would be. So I work with like yearly plans.
Yes.
So for me, this year is like Draw Your Science Initiative.
Yeah.
And also with Fuzzy Synapse, I actually started collaborating with grant writing academies like so at Stanford, I collaborate with grant writing academy where I carry out workshops for scientists.
Yeah.
Because as I told, like scientists are not trained in like figure making. They're trained in how to do research. They're trained in how to write papers, but they're not trained in how to draw figures or make figures and communicate that. So I'm collaborating with Grant Writing Academy at Stanford and various other platforms where I'm trying to like trying to tell how actually you can make effective figure, because that's a part of science communication too. And as a researcher, it becomes very important to do that. So I'm trying for my future plans. I'm aiming to get more workshops done so that more people can get into the like the idea of communication and get book release. This is my future goal, and also to develop the platform in a better way so that other people find it interesting and make it as a team. Right now it's like single person doing it, so I would love to have a team around who are interested in the same goal and resonate with the idea to
Yeah.
put it together.
Okay, that's a very interesting goal for this year.
Yeah, like that's, yeah, let's see.
Let's see how it
Let's
works.
see. Yeah, let's see how it works.
So,
Mhm.
on a lighter note, what are your hobbies? What do you do apart from drawing and researching?
For research, I would say I have plenty of hobbies, right? So I have started learning ukulele.
Yeah.
So I'm not like a trained musician, but I love playing instruments. So I've started playing ukulele last year, I think.
Yeah.
And yes, in last year, because of COVID pandemic, I have become a pandemic gardener, I would say.
Uh-huh.
I've started growing my own veggies and like growing. So this has become kind of a hobby because I enjoy like getting tomatoes out of my garden. And it's a tiny garden. It's not a huge garden. So I enjoy gardening. And recently, my husband is pushing me to read books
Yeah.
because I lack reading like other books. So he's like, you should do that. So I'm trying to do that too. So, and like trying to slowly develop my habit of reading at least like some else books, not like science books, just to increase like more this thing. So, yeah,
Okay.
I love traveling too, but because of COVID
COVID.
now, like exactly. So, so that has become a stop. So I would say I enjoy it. That's my hobby, but I have kind of like slowed it down because of the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I heard your I saw your video actually on YouTube playing the instruments.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't think those are like the professional ones, but I try to put it out just for
No,
my memory that
you did a very
you
good job actually.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I try to put it out just to see, like, put it as a memory, like, that I did it, I made that song. So, yeah, I'm trying to develop on that habit too, because I think everything is connected with brain, like music, painting, everything is a creative side of the brain. So, it helps you to, like, just forget a little bit about the failures of the experiment in the day and just focus on something else, because as scientists we all know that how many times we
Yeah.
fail and then we come to something productive. So it just these habits help me in keeping my sanity and like just keep going. Yeah.
So I would like to ask you one question about academic research. Do you enjoy academic research or you want to transition out of academics?
This has been a question in my mind for long. Like I enjoy research.
Yeah.
I haven't yet experienced a company like industrial research per se because I have always been in academic environment.
Yeah.
But I love doing bench work. I love planning experiments and doing that. So I would say I so far enjoy it, and I'm aiming to see whether I could be like going further in academic world, or I like there's a because I'm pretty open to the ideas of like even transitioning. But I think so far I'm enjoying academic environment and academic research. So, so far the idea is to see if I can get my own lab set up
Yeah.
and see like and go in that direction. But yeah, I'm pretty open with the ideas. Like if some like I'm pretty open with the industrial research or being in even in a science communication field. So
See.
those are something which have kept open for now.
Yes. And there are a
Yeah.
lot of science communication opportunities in the United States.
Yeah, I think after coming to, I was in Germany before. So in
Yeah.
Germany, I think it was just starting when I left. Like
Yes.
I could, or maybe I was so involved in my PhD that I didn't look outside, which is also one of the
Yes.
advice I would give to people who are just starting. That just look around. There are so many outstanding platforms out there where you can actually like learn a lot. So in my PhD, I was more like focused on my research and my getting PhD done. So
Yes.
I would say like after coming to States, it was more like I was looking out and seeing different opportunities. And here, like I collaborate with STEM peers, which is a CSG
Yes.
initiative, and you are doing humans or STEM peers too, which
Yes.
is an amazing initiative. Like good, like all the best with that. That's awesome. And then I collaborated with Taste of Science, National Postdoctoral Association. There's a company called data science company called Collaborate. So there are different initiatives I'm collaborating here. So I feel that everywhere there would be chances. Maybe in states it's much more that you are seeing it, but I think you're like it's amazing in Canada, Germany, Europe, like India. There are so many different initiatives which are coming now. So
Definitely.
yeah,
Well, thank you very much for coming together and speaking about Fuzzy Synapse and your new initiative. It was really helpful.
thank you so much. Thank you. It was really fun talking to you.
Thank you.